I know somebody in engineering who nearly has a perfect GPA. He's genuinely one of the smartest people I've ever met. But the second you hand him a tool, he doesn't know what to do. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad person to be. Genuinely, he can solve any problem in the world. But the second he actually gets put into the workplace, he doesn't know what he's doing. This person's also never joined a team. He's never had an internship, and he's never built anything in the real world. He's just a beautiful, spotless transcript. And genuinely, he's a quiet panic about whatever happens after graduation. And I know somebody else with a very average GPA, like aggressively fine, a GPA that would make a person break out in a cold sweat. But this person built like 6 things that actually work. And they did 2 internships and basically ran a club. And when they graduated, they had multiple offers before they'd even finished their semester, while the 4.0 kid was still sitting there. Now, there's a gap between the perfect transcript that you can do anything with and the one that can do everything. This entire thing I want to talk about today because I think engineering students are optimizing for the wrong number, and it's quietly costing a lot of them the exact same thing that they're grinding. Now, before anybody calls me crazy, I'm not telling anybody to go fail their classes, because that's not what I am saying. I'm telling you that grades don't matter. They actually do, especially in engineering. It's one of the fields that still weighs GPA a little more than average because the coursework itself is a part of what you're being hired to know. And some companies still have a cutoff, which is usually around 3.0. If you tank your GPA into the ground, you're going to get auto-filtered out of some places before a human eye ever sees your actual transcript. A really low GPA is a flag that's just the case, and I'd be lying if I said otherwise. But here's what actually changed, and it's a big deal. Because back in 2019, 3/4 of the employees said they'd screen people by GPA. Today, that number's dropped to around 42%, fewer than half of them. The old world, where recruiters sorted everyone by GPA and threw everyone out under a 3.5, that world is mostly gone now. And companies figured out that GPA doesn't actually tell them what they need to know, which is a very simple question. Can this person do the work? And that question is where you win or lose, not on the decimal. So this isn't grades don't matter. It's grades are a gate, not a prize. Clear the gate, then stop pouring your whole life into a number and go build stuff that actually gets you hired. If you want the one number that actually predicts whether you'll get a job in engineering, it's not your GPA. Here it is. Students who did an internship or a co-op got hired at a rate of about 82%, and students with no work experience at all, about 41%. Same degree, same classes, roughly double the hire rate, entirely on the basis of whether you've done real work before you graduated. Read that again in your head. The gap between the student who got experience and the student who didn't is bigger than almost any GPA gap could ever be. Nobody is doubling your odds because you went from 3.4 to a 3.7 GPA, but going from 0 experience to 1 internship, that's the whole game. That's the difference between a stack of rejections and a signed offer. And a huge number of engineering students spend 4 years optimizing the number that barely moves the needle while completely ignoring the one that doubles their odds. That's the tragedy of it. It's not that those students are lazy, they're working incredibly hard. They're just pointing all their effort at the wrong target. They'll put 3 all-nighters to move a grade up half a letter, and they'll never spend a weekend building something they can actually put on their resume. So let's talk about what you should be doing instead. That starts with the thing that nobody grades. It's your mindset. And I don't mean that in a fluffy motivational poster way. I mean it very specifically. The entire skill of engineering and the actual job is being handed a problem that nobody has solved for you. That has no answer in the back of any book, and not panicking. Sitting in the confusion, trying things, being wrong, trying again. That's the whole profession. And school, ironically, often trains that out of you because school hands you clean problems with clean answers and grades you on getting them right the first time. The real world hands you a mess and asks you to make it work. So the students who thrive aren't the ones who are getting best getting the right answers fast. They're the ones who get comfortable getting lost, who learn to tolerate not knowing, to debug something for 6 hours without quitting, and to be a beginner over and over without their ego falling apart. I've gotten the whole video on being willing to look dumb in public, and it fully applies here. The engineer who will raise their hand and say, "I don't understand this," learns 10 times faster than the one protecting their image. Curiosity plus a high tolerance for confusion beats raw intelligence almost every time, and none of that shows up on a transcript. You can't grade, doesn't give up, but it's the most valuable thing you'll build in the 4 years you're in college. Second, and given that I showed you, this is a big one. Get real experience as early as you possibly can. Internships, co-ops, undergraduate research, a part-time gig at a lab, and anything you can actually do in the engineering world for actual stakes before you graduate. Here's the mistake that almost everyone makes. It's that they wait. They think and they'll apply for internships junior year. Once I know more, once my GPA is higher, once I feel ready. Don't wait. Just apply embarrassingly early and apply as a freshman when you feel completely underqualified, because half of getting the internship is just being in the pipeline before everyone else wakes up to it. Your first one is going to be hard because you have nothing to show, which is exactly why you should start collecting rejections now, so that by the time it counts, you've already got one under your belt. You're in that 82% instead of the 41. And it does not have to be some prestigious brand name internship. A local company or a research position with a professor, co-op that nobody's ever heard of, it all still counts, because it all answers only one question that matters. Has this person done real work? And once you can say yes to that, your entire resume looks completely different. You stop being just a transcript who is an engineer with a good grade, and now you're actually an engineer who can perform and do work. The best time to get your first experience was last year, and the second best time is the second you finish this video. Third, and this is my favorite one, is to build stuff. Personal projects and things that nobody assigned to you, and they aren't for class, they're just purely based on to see if you can build it. This is the great equalizer, and it's one of the most students completely sleep on, because a project is undeniable proof. A GPA says I can pass tests, while a project says I built this thing, and it works, and let me show you. When you're sitting in an interview and you can pull up with something that you actually made, walk them through it, why you built it, how you broke it, what broke, and how you fixed it, you've completely changed the conversation. You're not a candidate reciting coursework anymore, you're an engineer showing off your work. Interviews light up at that because it's rare, because it's the closest thing you can actually show that shows that you can do the work of the job. And the best part is the projects are free and available to literally everyone right now. You don't need permission, and you don't need a company to pick you. You don't need a certain GPA or anything like that. You just need the idea and the willingness to be bad at it for a while and build a dumb thing. Build the thing that's a little too ambitious, or build the thing that breaks constantly and teaches you more in a weekend of frustration than a month of lectures. Employers know an assigned project from a passion project because the passion project is so messy and it's specifically yours. That's exactly what makes it land. That project that gets you hired is almost never the one that you did for a grade, and it's the one you did because you actually wanted to. Finally, let's talk about clubs and teams. And this one does double duty, which is why I love it. Join the teams where engineering actually helps other humans. The rocketry club, the racing team, the robotics club, hackathon crew, whatever your school offers, because these do two things at once. They're basically a project and a real experience wrapped together. You're building actual things on a deadline with a team, which is exactly what jobs want. And two, they put you around people, and people have opportunities to actually move. That internship you want, a huge amount of the time that comes through someone you know, a teammate, an older student who did it last year, passes your name along. The connections you make in these clubs are the ones that hand you the opportunities on the job board. There's a softer thing here too. The thing I'm always going on about, and the stuff that makes you good in the room with other people, communicating your idea, working on a team without everyone hating each other, leading something, taking feedback without falling apart, none of that gets graded. And all of that matters enormously in an actual engineering career. Employers are explicitly looking for it. You build it in clubs. You build it by showing up and being around other people who are trying to make things. You do not build it grinding problems set alone in your room at 3 a.m. Lone genius with a perfect GPA and no people skills is not who gets hired. That's a myth. Engineering is a team sport, and the transcript doesn't capture whether you're someone people actually want on the team. Now, I have to be honest about a couple things because I don't want to hand you a comforting lie. If you're going for grad school, a PhD in medical school, or a handful of ultra-competitive spots, some finance-adjacent engineering roles, certain elite programs, GPA carries more weight there. And for you, it's a real gate you need to clear. I'm not telling you to ignore it. Like I said at the top, a genuinely low GPA still raises flags even in this new world, so this is not permission to stop caring about school. Keep your grades in healthy range and clear the gate. The message about where energy goes to. It's about the student who already got a fine GPA and is grinding it from good to slightly better while having 0 projects, 0 experience, or 0 teams. That trade is a mistake. Take the energy you were spending polishing a 3.6 into a 3.8 and put it into an internship application, project, club. Some reallocation will do more for your career than the decimal effort could. So here's what I actually want you to do, because inspiration with no action is worthless. First, start one project this month, not someday, just start it this month. Start real, unassigned, something you actually want to build. Just start it. The point is to have one real thing that's yours in progress that you can talk about. Next, apply to one thing this week. No matter how unqualified you feel, an internship, a research position, a co-op, anything real. Especially if you're a freshman or sophomore who thinks it's too early, it's not too early. Get into the pipeline now, collect the rejection, and get into that 82% as fast as possible. Next, join one team where people actually build things and show up to it more than once. Not a pad to the resume, just to be around people making stuff, because that's where the skills and connections and opportunities all live. Lastly, keep your own scoreboard, the one that isn't graded. A running list of what you can actually do now you couldn't before. Things you've built, shipped, fixed, or led, because that list is real. It's the only thing that will carry you in the interview, and it's the only one that follows you out the door after you graduate. Now, that person with the perfect GPA who couldn't build a thing, they're figuring it out. Now, late in the hard way, learning after graduation that the number they bled for was only ever the ticket to the front door, and that nobody inside the building actually cares what it was. The average GPA person who built 6 things and joined a team and did internships, they were never behind. They were just keeping score differently, and the entire time on the scoreboard that actually mattered. School will hand you a GPA and spend 4 years convincing you it's the most important thing about an engineer, and it isn't. It's just a gate. Keep it healthy, then go spend the bulk of your energy on the stuff that has no grade attached. The mindset, the experience, the projects, and the people. Because that's the stuff that actually makes you an engineer. And it's the stuff that's still yours long after the transcript stops mattering, which happens a lot sooner than anybody tells you. So tell me in the comments if you're further along what actually got you your first engineering job. And if you're still in school, what's the one project or club you've been meaning to start and you haven't yet? Just say it out in the comments, and if you want to figure this stuff out alongside people going through the exact same thing, you can talk about it in the comments. Appreciate you guys.